Thank you for applying to the software engineer
Thank you
role.
for considering
Unfortunately, we will not be
Our
moving
hiring
forward.
team
I'm writing
has
to
reviewed
inform you
your
that we've
application.
moved forward with other apps. The position has been filled.
In today's video, we'll be looking at what to do after receiving yet another job rejection email. Not only will we look at how to deal with job rejection, but how to bounce back from it. I'm Kamara, Toffolo, resume writer, LinkedIn consultant, job search strategist, and LinkedIn top voice who helps established professionals dare to do work differently and land great fitting gigs. I post new videos every week, and my videos will equip you with some of the most valuable information to make your job search easier, because job searching shouldn't be this hard. Rejection happens to every job seeker. It's a risk of doing business, so to speak. In many cases, you may be doing everything right and still getting rejected. But would you believe me if I told you that there were some positives to being rejected from certain jobs? In some cases, you may have completely dodged a bullet if you were rejected due to bias or lack of cultural fit. Why work for an employer where you can't bring your whole self to work? Or rejection could be a sign that you are properly applying to progressive roles. Roles where you might not be 100% qualified, but you're mostly qualified and stretching to step into growth opportunities. Not all rejection is bad, but that doesn't mean it doesn't feel bad. So let's talk about when the rejection feels bad and how to bounce back from it. Rejection sucks. I'm not here to tell you to keep a super positive mindset, but I certainly don't want you carrying your job search baggage into every interview. Let's get real. Receiving a rejection message never feels good, even if it's for a job that you didn't want as much as the other ones. You do need to allow yourself to feel the feelings of rejection, whatever may come. Be sad, get mad, do something to blow off steam. Just like a breakup, you need to work through these feelings so that you don't subject your next interviewer to the anguish caused by the last one. If you're a keen job seeker, you're probably noting down the different details and data from your different job applications. This might include noting down information like employer name, the job title that you applied to, when you applied, when you received a response, when you interviewed, etc. But I'd also encourage you to track when the rejections come too. This information can give us invaluable insight into areas where we might be able to job search even better. You might even see some patterns emerging, which is even more helpful. So let's dissect some rejection timings and what they might actually mean. Are you receiving rejection shortly after applying to jobs? This likely reveals that you're not qualified or not qualified enough for the jobs to which you're applying. Or what this could also mean is that your resume isn't properly demonstrating that you are qualified or qualified enough for the jobs to which you're applying. Do you often make it to the initial phone screen with a recruiter or talent acquisition professional, but receive a rejection without progressing beyond the phone screen interview? I recently asked my recruiter friends on Twitter what some of the common reasons were for someone to get rejected following a phone screen interview. These were their answers. Resume misrepresentation. What you wrote on your resume might not actually be jiving with your actual qualifications. Your resume is on the right track, but this is the opposite of misrepresentation. Your resume might have been on the right track and shown a few of the qualifications that were needed in the role, and the recruiter really wanted to chat with you to possibly uncover more qualifications needed in that role, just in case they may have been missing from your resume. But if after the conversation they realize you don't have those qualifications, then you wouldn't be moving forward. Another reason for rejection right after the phone screen is a misalignment with career aspirations and the job itself. You want to do a job that's different than the job to which you applied. There may have been a compensation mismatch. Maybe you want more money than they can afford. Perhaps it comes down to poor communication. This one's pretty straightforward. Or you gave vague answers during the phone interview. Also pretty straightforward. And finally, you might be running into scheduling hurdles. Your schedule just doesn't match up with the hiring manager's schedule in order to set up an interview. So as you can tell by this list, being taken out of the running for a job at the phone screen is often about the fact that both you and the recruiter saw a potential match, but upon further inquiry, it just didn't work out. So it's not necessarily anything that you are doing wrong, aside from a few of the obvious reasons. So what if you have a history of making it past those phone screens and getting the chance to pitch yourself directly to the hiring manager, but then you seem to be hitting some roadblocks in the early interviewing stages? This could be a sign that there's opportunity for you to interview even better. More on that later. And finally, maybe you've noticed that you have a track record of getting almost all the way to the finish line, making it to final interview rounds, but not ultimately getting an offer. It may come down to the fact that the selected candidate has a slight advantage over you, or perhaps there were some budget issues. Oftentimes you can do all the right things, but still get rejected at the final interview stage. So let's say you just received a rejection email. If you watched my video on sending post-interview thank you messages, you'll remember that one of the times I recommended thanking your interviewer was when you were rejected. This is a type of message that will really set you apart from the other candidates. Also, it helps you keep your foot in the door. A lot could happen in between the hiring of the selected candidate, them showing up on day one, and them staying through their probationary period. They could get another offer, the fit might actually be lacking. There's a whole host of possibilities. So why not be the candidate that kept their foot in the door and stayed on the recruiters and hiring managers' radar in order to up your chances of possibly working for that target company in the future? Make sure to sign up for my free post-interview thank you messages guide and templates. The download link is in the description below. And while you're at it, you could also consider asking for feedback from the person who is rejecting you, who you're also thanking. Now, keep in mind, we cannot expect feedback from recruiters or hiring managers. Many employers are worried about incriminating themselves through feedback. So the recruiter may be very limited on what information they can obtain and what feedback they can relay to you. I know it seems simple. Don't say stuff you can't say and say stuff you can say. My only response is, so how do you actually ask for this feedback? If you're sending a thank you message in response to the rejection email you just received, then you can simply add another line that sounds something like this. If you have the time and are able to share some insights with me, I'd greatly appreciate any feedback you can provide about my candidacy and how I might work to strengthen it in the future. Now, as we've already discussed, the reasons for being rejected from a job aren't always things that are within your control. But if through tracking job rejections and possibly getting some feedback, you do identify that there are some aspects of your job search that you can do even better, there are a lot of options for seeking help. If you have been applying for any and every job and you haven't identified your target job, you can consider working with a career clarity coach to help you really hone in on what that target is. For a DIY budget-friendly version, I always recommend Kristen Sherry's book UMAP, and I've linked it in the description below. If you know that your resume is the issue, you could consider having your resume reviewed, working with a resume coach, or even investing in having your resume rewritten. If you know you really need to beef up your interview skills, then you could consider hiring an interview coach. There are many different services on the market that can work with every budget level. And you can always continue hanging out with me here on YouTube. Whatever the help you need, you'll be able to find it. Don't feel like there's something that you missed that has led to the challenges that you're facing with your job search. There's no touch point in our lives where we are truly taught how to job search properly, how to write a great resume, or even how to interview well. And I want you to know that you do not have to go this alone. And if you ever need someone to point you in the right direction for the right help for you, always feel free to reach out to me on my website or in the comments on my YouTube videos. One way to mitigate the burn of job rejection is to keep many job searching irons in the fire. That means, like we discussed in my video about job search time wasters, we don't stop job searching, we don't stop applying for jobs until we've received an offer, we've accepted that offer, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered. I believe that when you get rejected for a job, it's one more wrong job moving out of the way so that you can get closer to the right one. And here's my cue for you. How have you overcome job rejection in the past? I'd love to hear it. Tell me in the comments below. As you know, I make a lot of videos, but I also make free guides to help you in your job search. If you'd like to get my free cover letter guide and checklist, or my free post-interview thank you messages guide and templates, like I mentioned earlier, you can sign up for both of them. The links are in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, please do give it a like. It helps me help more people. And if you'd like to see more of this face in your feed, click on that face over there to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.